I want to introduce my friend, Pastor Caleb McKellar, who lives in Limpopo province. I wanted to have a chat, more than an interview, with Caleb, because he has had some amazing experiences in his latest trip to Mozambique. So maybe firstly, Caleb, can you tell us how you got involved in the first place?
Yeah, sure. Started one day at church in Polokwane when Mrs. Horneman gave me and my wife $1,000 to attend this conference in Vereeniging. And that's where we met the people from Mozambique. We exchanged telephone numbers and then we forgot each other. A year later, this guy calls me up. He wants to come to South Africa. He can come to my place. I said yes, and he came. And one thing led to the other, and we became involved with him. That's how it happened.
And since how many years ago was that?
Now it's the sixth year.
Okay. And so how many trips have you had?
I can't remember. I think I've had up to 5 trips.
5 trips.
Yes. The first one was myself and Tim in 2010 in February. That's when we visited 44 churches in 11 days. And we had to preach in tents in all those 44 churches. It was a very, very interesting experience. And tiring, but always looking forward to the next church when we're going to be seeing the president. New places that we've never seen before,
yes.
New places we've never been to
yes.
before. Very interesting.
So who's your host or your contact there in Mozambique?
Well, Emmanuel, the National Secretary, is my host when I'm in Mozambique. And he's been the host of the Polokwane people when they went back in 2014, 2015. Yes. So we stay in his house. He's enlarged his house, by the way, because he realized that he's having a flow of people coming from South Africa. So I felt a bit sorry for him at one stage because it looks like he had to do it for us. Yeah. So, but anyway, that's the place where we stay when we're there.
That's correct. And you told me when you returned this time 2 very interesting. One was a very heartwarming thing you told me, and one was very heartrending. Can you tell us about those?
Yeah, we got to this place called Maromeo. It's a place where no one from South Africa had ever been before. And we promised them so many times that we will be coming. And even Tim, when he was up there one time, he tried to get there, but he got stuck and he couldn't proceed. So they had to somehow dig him out of this place. But finally, we made it, but it was in the middle of the night. And these people were waiting for us with great anticipation. When we got there, they were ululating, they were shouting, they were singing, and they met us as we entered the place. It's in a big forest, actually, and you wonder, where does all these people come from? But anyway, they were there in a group, and they were in the light that the bucky beams, were shining. So I could see those shining faces and shining eyes. That this was great anticipation. It was great excitement for them because finally somebody had come to visit them from South Africa. And for me that was very special because it was the first time that one of us was there, and these people had been waiting for the whole day and almost half the night. And we got together, we went into their church building, and it was so beautiful. We had a short service there, and they were singing so excitedly. But more was still to come the following day. We had a meal, and then we went to bed. They did not sleep. They went on dancing, singing, and the excitement was just building up until very early in the morning. I think about 3:30, it went quiet, so they all went to rest. In the morning, about 10 o'clock, we had the service. It was so special because they sang this chorus that really touched me, spoke to me, and I felt we needed to make it special for them as well. We did something that we didn't do with other churches that we visited before. We sang for them, And I also sang one of the songs we sing in Mailura, a Venda one, but I explained what it meant. So we made it special. And at the end of the service, they were presenting gifts, and they gave me two doves, pigeons, yes, in a little cage, and it was very special.
Live ones?
Live ones, yes, live ones. That really made it very special to me. And I requested them to sing that song that they sang before, that I could record it and bring it back to South Africa. I promised them that I'm going to teach this little chorus to our church so that I can record them, and one time when I come back, I can bring the recording. And indeed, when I got home, I taught the church, and we sing it like regularly.
Yes.
That was very, very special. You get into this place where you've never been before. But then, before we go to this place, we went to a place called Migoa, deep in Mozambique forest, where they were busy putting up a church out of poles and reeds. And the roof was up, but the sides were not yet filled up with mud. We got there, there was not very many people because they had misunderstood our message, that they thought we would be coming the following day, but were the area that they thought. But the people who were near the church came, and we had a nice service there. In very primitive circumstances, for me as a South African, because they had this reed table which was not so level and so nicely done, but that was the lectern where they put the Bible in their Bibles. And then they had this more old but kind of modern version where there's this rolling door which you can roll up or down to close. So to me that was a very interesting invention, that you could roll it up easy and then roll it down to close. Yeah. But what touched me with that group is that after the service, they said to us in a very humble and very apologetic way that we are sorry that we cannot offer you anything to eat because we ourselves struggle to get any food. And I looked at this, I know that really, really got to me, touched me, that people would like to entertain people. I know those people. If they have anything they like to share, but they didn't have anything to share with us. And I was just glad that they were honest. Yeah. No, they didn't, I don't know, they didn't have to go to other extra lengths. I don't know what they would have done, but they were straightforward, that they didn't have anything to do.
So Caleb, I understand you've travelled in about 4 provinces, is that right?
Yes.
Is that around, you said around the central
area of Mozambique.
And what's that like?
Okay, first of all, this is very rural, and the roads are not anything like South Africa. So it's a struggle to get through to most places. Some places we follow bicycle tracks, and you know how a bicycle track would look like. So we have to push through. But there are some places where there is a massive deforestation taking place because people want a place to plant their maize. Now what happens is the beautiful large green forests of Mozambique, as we've known them originally, some of them are no more there because people want space to plant maize. Now the worst part is that they don't use fertilizers, stuff like we use in South Africa. So after 3 years, 3 plantings, the soil is depleted. So they have to go onto another patch and destroy. And trees that have been growing for many of them, maybe even over 500 years, destroyed.
And do they burn them? Do they?
They make a lot of charcoal.
Yes.
So and this is the central area of Mozambique. In Zambezia province, on the eastern side of the Zambezi River, and the Sofala province, the eastern side of the Zambezi River, and then Tete province and Manica province.
You're saying these words very naturally. How do you manage with the language? There must be differences in languages. How do you cope?
Yeah, fortunately, they don't speak many languages in those areas.
Oh.
The dominant language is Sena, of which I sometimes, when I stay there for longer than maybe 2 weeks, I am able to speak to some extent. But there's another language also which I found very strange. I couldn't even hear a thing. It's called Lolo. There's one place or two places where we went and we had to get a translator to translate into that language. But maybe when I have time I can give you a clip of my sermon being translated twice.
Wow.
I gave it in English, Manuel gave it in his home language, Sena, and then somebody who knew Sena translated into Lolo.
Not Portuguese?
Not Portuguese, no. Only one place where a pastor was leading the service in Portuguese. I understood that he's a guy that just likes Portuguese. And even to my ears, he sounded like he was singing, it was so beautiful. I enjoyed it, yes. Even though I didn't understand anything he said. But I just liked the way he flowed with it. It was very, very.
But you've learned some languages.
Well, I think I don't have a big problem, a big challenge with learning other languages. But I didn't like to learn Portuguese because I felt there are some people who cannot speak Portuguese, so I better learn their own language that I can communicate with them. Yeah.
Great. Now, can you tell us anything about the political situation there?
Yeah, it's a very sad story. We all know that they've gone through two very protracted wars. First against the Portuguese, then the Civil War, brother against brother. Apparently what has transpired recently is that the governing party, which is Frelimo, did not want to accept that they've been defeated in the last elections by the Renamo party. I understand the Renamo party won 6 of the 10 provinces. And Frelimo officials took all the ballots and threw them in the sea. But one day people, as we were working on the beach, they found all the Frelimo ballots on the beach. And I think that's what caused the problem in recent days. Because now there is this conflict that's starting to flare up in most parts, especially the northern parts, where they had all apparently voted Renamo, which is the opposition party to the Frelimo party. Now, what has been happening is that one or the other party would come into a village and maybe want to know where the other party is, or maybe accuse them of spying or even telling on the other party. Then they would then burn their houses, in certain cases even murder people. And I've seen whole villages where people have moved away because of fear. And so this is what is, I think, is even escalating, because now the Renamo people, or the rebels as they call them, they're starting to be bolder. They come even into urban areas like Murumbala, where Emmanuel stays. They've just attacked a police station. They burned some police vehicles. And at one place where we passed the other day, they attacked the hospital, killed some people there, and they took medicine and went with them in the bush.
And the drought. On top of all of this is the drought.
Yes, unfortunately, great tragedy. Yeah, as you know, the eastern part of the continent of Africa has been hard hit with the recent drought. And Mozambique, being a very poor nation, they don't have many resources to cope with this situation. And it's really affecting the lives of people. And people resort to what I'm doing before, just to survive. And unless it rains, and I think we need to pray that God really intervenes. I think many population of the eastern part, including Mozambique of Africa, might be decimated quite extensively.
Can you finish with something up? Because I don't want to end a chat like this on something so difficult to bear. Something that you remember that delighted you.
Lorna, what really, really delighted me and touched my heart is to see the faith of these people, the smiling faces, the happiness. And I wouldn't say it's because they are seeing people from outside the country. It shows that this is how they live. When they come together, you must see the exuberance, the ululating, the singing. It's just wonderful. It's not something that has been rehearsed. You can see it's spontaneous, it's natural. And this is what at one stage I was asking myself, do we still have this in South Africa? Where you find people waiting in great anticipation, like half a kilometer away from the church building, just to welcome us and lead us to this place where we go to gather. It's, to me, that has left a lasting impression of the happiness of those people, of the love they have for God, and how we can learn from them, even though they are in great difficulties. That left a great impression on us.
Thank you, Caleb, so much.
It's a great pleasure, Rona.
I hope we do this again.
Thank you.